This is the Wandering Mike.
Welcome everyone to the Wandering Mike. Today I'm here with Robin. Hey Robin, how you doing?
Hey, doing great.
Wonderful. It's actually a really nice day today after like the rainy, cloudy days we had.
Yeah, it's clear. I mean, it's still a bit too hot for me, but
That's fair.
yeah, it's a great day.
Yeah, I mean, I know that all of you like have to work out on the fields and stuff like that, but especially on a Saturday, like I think it is nice. I slept for like 12 hours today. And then I woke up at 10 and I went outside and I was like, oh, this.
Yeah, I would not call this a nice day if I was working out on a field today.
Fair enough.
But for having access to shade and maybe some AC,
Right.
this is wonderful. Yeah.
So yeah, actually, weather is always a funny thing as well when we start, because we don't always, but sometimes we start off with just talking about the weather, how it is. And then it's always interesting to hear like how it is for someone compared to where they're actually from. So I guess I use that as a transition to say, do you just want to introduce yourself to the people? Tell them where you're from if you want to, and just a few little things that you think might be interesting to give us a little picture of who you are.
Okay. So, I'm from Tennessee in the US. Uh, I I'm from East Tennessee specifically,
Right.
where I'd say East Tennessee has its own culture, kind of separate from the rest of Tennessee, separate from the rest of the American South.
Mm,
It's a little bit cooler there. It rains a lot,
right.
um, and there's always mountains everywhere. Um, so at least compared to this weather, you know, this is just blazing hot. And maybe it gets this hot maybe 2, 3 times a year at most,
Right.
and it gets a lot colder. It gets a lot colder in Tennessee. So I never thought that I'd say this, but I miss the rain. You know, it only rains like 2, 3 times a month here. It'll rain
Yeah.
for like a day or two when it does.
When it does, yeah, it's just like,
Yeah, but like in Tennessee, you'll have a whole week of just rain.
mm,
Um, but yeah, I'm from Tennessee, from the US, and I've been looking for an excuse to get out anywhere except for the US. So that's part of the reason why I ended up here.
right. Um, all right, yeah. Um, I'm just thinking of, because there's so many interesting things that we could get into. I also know a bit more that you didn't say. Like
Oh,
for example,
yeah.
where you were before you came to Australia.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna get into all that. I want to stick to Tennessee for a second, actually, because I was always really bad at geography. But the thing is, I really do like the states. Like when I was younger, I was really like I liked the culture and all that. I liked the mentality. Um, so that was like almost 15, if not even 20 years ago now. That's when I've started to fall in love with it, just to give people context as well. Um, and I actually went to high school for 1 year as well, and I was living in Virginia.
Oh,
So
really?
I'm just trying to remember if I like got it correctly, but doesn't Tennessee kind of, because like Virginia, you go into like the Appalachians, and it,
Yeah.
doesn't that kind of border to
Yes,
Tennessee?
Tennessee has like it's probably just like a 20 or 30 mile long border with Virginia. It's
Also,
like
I did get
Tennessee's
that.
really long and Virginia's really long, and they just barely touch at the corner.
Right.
And there's actually a city right on that border that if I'm ever driving up north,
Mm.
I will stop in that city. I forget the name of it, but that's really cool. You went to high school for 1 year in Virginia.
Yeah, I did pretty much. gap year while you were still in school, pretty much, because you could do that in Germany because the system, like the school system, kind of it's similar in the sense that we have 12 years of school, but the 11th and 12th is like still a bit isolated because pretty much everything you do up until 10 is the build up, and then 11th and 12th pretty much that is when it actually counts for your I guess your
like for
diploma.
college.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
like then because already in 11th you start to create your actual grades on the diploma pretty much. So all those 2 years will at the end add up to the grades or your GPA pretty much.
Oh,
And everything before that is disregarded in a sense.
okay.
So because of that thing that it works like that, you can basically after 10th say, hey, I want to take a quick break or whatever and do like exchange programs like the one I did. You could also do like some social stuff. But yeah, I was really keen on like doing an exchange program. So
Wow.
I used that to after 10th go to do, which was also kind of funny because I didn't really do 11th grade. I didn't really do 12th grade, but rather they just, like the guidance counselor, she just asked me, like, what courses are you interested in? And some of them were junior classes, some of them were senior classes. So I just kind of had some classes with the seniors, some with the juniors, and got to experience like just the classes I wanted to experience pretty
Okay.
much.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I just found out the other day that America has a similar system where, the first 4 years you just get like a letter, like pass or fail, like
Right.
elementary school. Then middle school, you start getting grades, like your report card has A, B, C, D, E, F, or A, B, C, D, F.
Yeah, for some reason there's no E. I
Yeah.
never got that, but
Yeah. But and then in high school, like your last 4 years of school, those will count for your GPA when
right.
you finish school. And I really wish somebody had told me about that. And like I just, oh, they're using numbers now. And then when I become a freshman, they're like, "Oh, better pay attention to your grades because it'll affect your GPA." Like what's the GPA? Nobody
Right.
warned me about this, but yeah, that that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, but at the end of the day, because yeah, that's what I thought as well. Like when you're in high school, everything, every grade you get counts to the GPA, right? So it's kind of even harder in a sense to get like a really like a 5.0 GPA because everything goes into that.
Yeah. Yeah. I did not pay attention to my GPA or anything in school. I was after school, or not after school, but before school was done, before high school was done, I was dead set on getting done with high school, and then I would immediately start working. I did not want
Right.
to go to college. I did not care about any of that kind of stuff. I was just, I'm ready to start working. I want to make money. I had like a part-time job in high school, and I was like, okay, I really like this money stuff.
Hmm.
I'm not going to mess with any of the college stuff. And college is really infamous for being extremely expensive in America. So, I mean, I've got a lot of friends who went from high school straight into college, and we're all in our mid 20s now, and they've got insane amounts of student debt.
Right.
So, on one hand, I'm grateful for that. On the other hand, I'm actually going to have to go, when I go back to America, eventually, I'm going to have to go to college
Oh, really?
because uh, I've kind of I've set out a little plan for my future, but it does involve college. One half of me wishes that I had done it earlier, but the other half of me is like, I'm glad I'm doing it at some point.
Yeah. I feel like that is really, especially in the United States, because um, having been to like a lot of different places now, mainly, I think, mainly the English speaking countries is the ones where I also learned about their like education system. So like the New Zealand system, the Australian system, the system in the UK. And I think compared to all of those, the United States are definitely the most expensive and the ones where the government also doesn't help you in any sort of form to pay like the debts back, because especially in the UK and Australia, the system are relatively similar. You don't have to, like, you only start paying back your debts when you actually get a job. And then, especially in Australia, I don't know if that's also the case in the UK, but my friend from Melbourne, he told me that you have to earn a certain salary. So only if you actually become like an engineer and get like an engineer salary, only then you have to pay back your debt. So let's say you go into
Oh.
retail or you work at McDonald's, just as examples, I'm not saying these
Yeah,
are
yeah,
bad jobs, but you obviously have a lower salary and
yeah.
then you would still not have to pay the debts back. So if you would basically never use your degree, you would never have to actually pay it back, which I
Wow.
found a very interesting concept, to be fair.
Sign me up. Oh my gosh.
So, so yeah, in the States, obviously it doesn't work anything like that, but you just get, like you said, very indebted. And I think a criticism that especially people from outside the US, I don't know if it's already a criticism inside the US as well, is that arguably the quality of what you actually get for that money might not be the best as it once was as well, maybe.
That's a criticism of people outside the US talking about the US.
Yes. So in
I mean,
Germany, for example, because our education is free. So basically you pay like 200 or 300 euros, or let's say dollars because it's almost the same. Let's say you pay $200 per semester. So like
what?
you don't pay more than $500 per year.
Oh my
So it
gosh.
is basically free, because in Germany, education is considered a human right, so it has to be accessible and free. And um, I don't know if that is because it is entirely possible, just also a German narrative, but it is said that the education is better than the one you would receive in the United States. So compared with what you have to, or let's even say they're similar. Compared to what you have to put up, it's just sad that you don't get the value for what you pay, pretty much.
I don't know about college because I've never been to college, but I would say with high school, I mean, you don't have to pay for high school in the
Right.
US, of course. Fingers crossed that stays. But the um yeah, I'd say the quality of education in high school is not the greatest. It's a lot of American propaganda, and I'm sure
Mm.
that every country in the world is gonna have a little bit of their propaganda
Yeah.
in school. But I mean, traveling outside of the US, um, I mean, even in Japan, which is such a close country to America, they like it's surprising how many things are just completely different. I
Mm.
I wish I had an example off the top of my head, but it's like I've I'd say every week I call my family or I call my friends in America, and I'm like, everybody outside of America believes this. Everybody outside of America thinks this about this, and man, if I had the examples, but it is like a weekly thing,
Yeah.
and it's just culture shock. of not being in America.
Yeah, I don't really like. I feel like it can be a good thing as well because, like, you're basically in America. You're living your American life. Like, I made that experience as well, and I found it. Actually, I was more on the side of finding it funny. When I when I like retold it back in Germany, it was bordering on sad. But like, genuinely, when I was in high school, like I had this. Like there was the occasional people that asked me if we had electricity in Europe, or they asked me if Germany was close to Europe. But then there was this one guy who I was just like shocked because he drives this really nice BMW every day to school. And then he's like, "Do you have cars in Germany?" And I'm like, well, so
Flash.
so I'm saying like it is, or it was to me, like pretty apparent that you don't like they didn't know, and obviously you can generalize, and obviously you probably would have known the answers to all these questions, but I'm also on the other hand kind of saying like, isn't it kind of nice that they don't have to worry about stuff like that? You know, especially like 15 years ago or whatever, when I was over there, it was just like you had like your made life there, like you had your own culture, you have your like pop references, and you don't necessarily need to go abroad the spectrum of your own country to have like a
Like a full life.
yeah.
I can see that, but it's also pretty sad. I mean, like I know so many people who have never left Tennessee, and they don't aspire to go outside of America. And you know, it's nice to have a small world, but I think part of like being mature,
Mm.
or like gaining some sense of maturity and understanding that like not everybody's the same would have to come from traveling. And if not traveling to other countries, because not everybody can afford to travel to other countries, but at least
Right.
being open to other cultures and like meeting people from other parts of the world.
Yeah.
And so many Americans are obsessed with staying in their American bubble and only associating with the American ideas that they
Right.
are surrounded in. And I think that that's a little sad, but I guess to each their own.
I mean, to be completely honest, obviously, I want everyone, because I know from having traveled a lot myself, I obviously want everyone to also travel and, like you said, go and experience all the cultures, because I know how it changes your mindset as well and how it changes your thought processes. Because if you see more things and you see how other cultures, like you said with Japan, you're like, oh wow, it's done like this, it's done like that. It will stay in your mind and it will enhance the way you think about problems because you have all these different solutions now
Yeah.
that you can see. So I obviously am also on your side. I'm just also trying to paint a counter narrative in a sense. um,
Hopefully not alienate any Americans.
is it that the thousands of Americans that listen to my podcast? um, But so you said one of the reasons for you coming to Australia as well was to get out of the United States, was to
Yeah.
experience different things. And as you now also already told us, before you came here, you went to Japan. So the idea, I guess, was a similar one, just to experience a culture that you had no idea of at the point.
Um, so I've been to Japan many times.
Right.
And actually, when I went to Japan before coming here, it was actually to live with my ex,
Right.
my partner at the time. Um, but yeah, we we actually planned it out. There's a whole backstory to all of it. Um, but like we had met in October, and then we planned to move to Australia. But in the meantime, I was gonna come to Japan and stay there for a while.
Right.
And um, it was so great. I mean, meeting people and making so many friends. Uh, I think everybody who's been to Japan absolutely loves it. It's a great place, but I always say it's an amazing place for tourism. Probably the best country in the world for tourism, but in like the bottom half of all countries for working,
Right.
you know? So I would like to live there, at least for the opportunity, the chance to say that I've lived there, and maybe it fits my style. But uh, I know that Australia is the kind of place where I can make more money doing what I'm doing as a chef.
Right.
In both Japan and America, chefs are pretty bottom of the barrel as far as getting paid. You don't get
Oh,
paid
really?
much above minimum wage.
Right.
And Japan and America have notoriously low minimum wages.
Yeah.
So coming here and being a chef in Australia, which I actually did in Sydney for 6 months before coming here, I felt like, paid fairly. The work was really rewarding. I'd say it was harder than being a chef in America,
Right.
but it was really rewarding. And I enjoyed it a lot. And I would be a chef in Australia anytime, but I've got other plans for now.
Um. Yeah. The Japan topic is just one that seems to be very present in my life at the moment as well. Just because I guess we are so close to it. Well, closer than you would be from Europe, at least.
Yeah.
Here in Australia,
Yeah.
and a lot of the backpackers that are going here for working holiday, that are saving up money here, they do go travel to Asia, and they occasionally go to Japan as well. So I've heard now here in Australia and last year in New Zealand a lot of positive things about Japan. Like, and you summed it up really good as well. Like it's good for tourism because I had a friend, or I hope I still do have a friend. I have a friend that I met in Portugal. He's Belgian, and he actually also came over from Japan back to Europe, to Portugal, and he was working for, I think it must have been Honda, because no, but he was working for an automotive company, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it was Honda, um, in their plant in I don't know where, and he lived there for 2 years, and he
Yeah.
was also like telling us all these cool, like obviously you would tell about your good experiences, right? And
Yeah.
then we were always like, well, yeah, it really sounds like a cool place. And but then yeah, he also kind of got burned out, and he said the culture for work, yeah, isn't the most supportive, and it's like really cutthroat at some point as well. And yeah, he had that's why he went to Southern Europe, because he wanted more chill, he wanted
Yeah.
more relaxation. So if yeah.
I've I've heard Europe is a very laid back place. That's part of my image of Europe. Um, but yeah, I mean, Japan has many great things. I love Japan so much. It's my favorite country. But there are many downsides. And I always say that if you really love a country, you should be able to talk about the downsides.
Right.
And there's of course the work culture. Um, but right now Japan is having some issues with over tourism.
Mm.
I mean, like after the pandemic, there was everybody who had wanted to go to Japan came to Japan all at once. And the yen got weaker, so everything was really cheap. And
Right.
now every year it's just more and more and more tourists are coming to Japan. And in places like Kyoto, which is a very historical city,
Yeah.
it's becoming a problem because like the last time I was in Kyoto, I'd say over 50% of the people there were tourists. And
Oh,
there's some like videos of people like harassing geishas. They'll like get up in her face and take pictures and like grab her and like you know, Japan is a very distinct culture. So I think that it's important that people know about the culture that they're going to visit. And, like I would love to go to Thailand because I cook Thai food and I
Yeah.
have some Thai friends in America. And, I would love to go to Thailand, but I can say hello in Thai and I don't know the first thing about their culture other than I'm pretty sure they're Buddhist.
Yes.
And so I'm a bit hesitant to go to Thailand because I feel like I don't know enough. And I kind of wish people were a little bit more like just more cautious when they're being tourists. I mean, tourism is a great thing. Everybody says that they love to hate tourists, or everybody loves to hate tourists.
Yeah.
But it's really good for the economy. It's good for meeting new people. I think tourists are great, but, and I'm not a politician, I don't know the solution. But um, another problem that I've faced a little bit when in Japan is I wouldn't call my Japanese fluent. I wouldn't say that I could go to a business meeting and have my own ideas.
Right.
But I can hold a conversation with pretty much anyone. I I can talk about many different topics in Japanese. I'm conversational to advanced, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
But because I'm white, I look very white, you know?
You do.
I'm like almost 2 meters tall and yeah, pale. Whenever I go to Japan, I will like if I approach somebody with full-fledged Japanese, like I will say something like I know that I didn't make a single mistake. I'd say 7 times out of 10 they're going to respond to me with very bad English.
Wow.
And I actually had one time I was in a small city. It was Toyota City.
Oh
So
yeah.
believe it or not, it's where the Toyota headquarters are. You wouldn't know that that's a small city, but it is. And I was at an izakaya and I was sitting down and I asked the waiter, I was there with my girlfriend at the time, and I asked the waiter, like, what sake do you recommend?
Right.
Right? Like, and I told him I like sweet but I also like, yeah, I like really sweet sake. And if you have a cloudy sake, I would like that as well. And he looked at me and he heard everything I said. And then he turned to my girlfriend who is Japanese and he said, I would recommend for him, et cetera, et cetera. And like, he just wouldn't talk to me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Um, I guess if you're in a country where the majority of people haven't seen a foreigner in their life, I guess it makes sense to maybe be a little bit wary, like a little bit uncomfortable when someone who doesn't look like anyone you've ever seen comes into your restaurant and starts talking to you. It makes sense. I just wish that it does feel like I'm an outsider, you know?
Yeah, I can totally see that. And it's a very I mean, obviously, I haven't been to even close to all the countries in the world, but it it sounds like that is a very specifically Japanese thing because all the countries that I've been to, and maybe Indonesia being the closest kind of example to Japan, because I've lived there. I've been to Thailand, because you said Thailand as a tourist as well, and even there, like the people, if you try to speak in their language in their mother tongue, like they really appreciated it. Like it made them smile, and they were like, "Oh," and they responded speaking their language slower back to you. Like they really liked that you wanted to speak in their language, and that's why when you told that story, it was kind of, for me, it was a bit, surreal. It's like why wouldn't they appreciate that
And-
that effort that you put in?
And that is like a that happened one time to me. I've had many people praise me for how good my Japanese is. And Japanese people are really nice, and like super good with compliments. But yeah, I told that story because there is that little feeling that like you are not part of this. Maybe that's just a me thing. Maybe that's like, but I was ranting about that to my girlfriend for weeks.
Just no, but that is a weird, weird thing. But actually, the tourism thing, that's also a topic that we had, or that was brought up on the podcast a couple of times as well. Just with the way tourism also, in my opinion, has changed a bit, where and a lot of the people that I had on here, really like curious people, like for them, tourism is similar to probably me and your view of it, that you want to embrace in the culture. You want to like talk to the locals. You want to like find out how do you actually live in this country.
Yeah.
But I think for a lot of people, it's also, and I want to spare the listeners because I'm also notorious for my rants on social media. But I think social media definitely has a role in it, because then you see like, oh, Vietnam, you see like 15-second videos of the highlights of Vietnam, and then you want to see those specific places and you want to take those specific pictures.
Yeah.
And maybe all that leads to where the tourist isn't really as curious, and then as a result also as respectful to the culture, because they're just there to take off like things on their bucket list.
Yeah,
and
it's
they're
just
"Oh."
like just an Instagram post behind a couple $100 plane ticket. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I understand.
So especially, I think especially in Asia right now, as it is becoming more trendy and all that, because I definitely saw the difference. I'm still dreading to go back to Thailand, because like when I was there was 8 years ago, and I've just recently, actually before coming here, been back to Bali.
Yeah.
And so obviously I was also there 8 years ago, because it was like the same time when I was living in Indonesia, and then I traveled a bit around. I've got to see Thailand. I've got to see, well, Bali is technically Indonesia, but that part of Indonesia. I got to see Malaysia. Didn't have time for Vietnam or Cambodia because I just got stuck in Thailand because I loved it so much. So I definitely recommend you to go to Thailand. But being back in Bali, and Bali even back then was for me the island that I liked the least, just because even back then it was grown with tourists.
Yeah.
And being back there, it was even worse. So I decided to go to a little island off of main Bali, which is called Nusa Lembongan. And
Okay.
I had a great time. It was a really, it's a really small island. Even that island has a lot of tourists on it now, but it being a small island, it limits the amount of people that can be on it.
Yeah.
Either way, so I had an amazing time over there in Nusa Lembongan. But obviously you have to fly into main Bali and then you have to take a ferry. And I just feel like, yeah, with it becoming more trendy, maybe I share your point of over tourism. And that's why I don't really know if I want to go back to Thailand, because I have this, obviously memories probably idealize a lot of things as well, but I've got these memories of my time in Thailand, and I don't know if it's going to be the same, because now it's just everything is more touristy and all that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I try to think if I am being a tourist somewhere, I try to think of myself as like I'm gonna like set an example as a good tourist,
Mm.
you know? Hopefully if enough of the tourists are good and like respectful and they are genuinely interested in the place and the people where they're going, I would be fine with everyone being tourists, you know?
Right.
You know, but yeah.
So I I don't know how to ask my next question in a sense where it doesn't just like broaden it up to, but I guess I'll just ask and I see where you take
Go
it.
for it.
Um,
Go for it.
because you've offered up already that you worked as a chef for a long time, that you enjoy that work. Um, I don't know if you've said it on the podcast yet, but I know that you love making music as well.
Yeah.
I know that that's a big part. And not only because we literally just talked about it before the podcast, but I do see you with that guitar. Like I do see you when I'm in my office and I see you out there and I see you just jamming for hours. And
Yeah. Yeah, about my music, like I started writing music when I was like 14 or 15 years old, and it was just like making little instrumental techno songs on GarageBand.
right,
And at that time, like my only experience with music that I really liked was like kind of like meme songs, like Numa Numa Ye.
Of course.
Yeah, and like
Still playing.
yeah, yeah. And Caramel Dancin', you know that song?
though not off the top of my head.
Well, it like big internet songs and like Nyan Cat as well.
Right.
Like those kind of upbeat techno-y disco songs were the only songs that I really resonated with. So I started making like electronic music
Right.
on GarageBand when I was really young. And then if you actually go to my YouTube channel, I was really into My Little Pony at that time.
But you can still see those songs on it.
Yeah, yeah. If you go back, like all the way back into my YouTube channel, the first like 10 or 12 songs that I ever made all had thumbnails with My Little Pony characters
All right.
on them, even though they had nothing to do with My Little Pony. But, the things we do when we're young. But as I got older, I realized, I went through a rock and grunge and Nirvana phase. And then my music taste has shifted, but the whole time I've always been writing music. And back in America, I've got a home studio and I've got like 5 or 6 different instruments and a couple of mics. And as a chef, I would I would wake up at 3 p.m., go to work, and then come back home at like midnight, and then just play music, like just play with all the instruments that I have until like 3 a.m., and then go to sleep, work the next day, etc. And at this point, I've got God knows how many just single songs that I've released. But as far as like really polished stuff, I have um I have technically 4 albums. One of the albums I released as 2 different halves at the same time. So I've got 4 albums. And I've probably got like 200 songs that I have written and have not recorded or done anything with. Ever since I came to Australia, it's been really hard. And I was so excited when I saw that there was a guitar here at the hostel. I got like, and now, you see, I pretty much every day after work, I play at least for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Recently, or before I came here, I kind of like distanced myself from making music. I was okay with just like, this is like the last album that I released was like, this is the period on my music career. And if it ends here, I'm fine with that.
Right.
But as I've been here longer and longer, I've realized I think that I will always want to write music,
Yeah. So from that, there's actually a couple of questions that I want to ask. And it also plays into the big question that I didn't ask yet, but the one where I said I want to take us there eventually.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get there. But so you said you actually published those 3 or 4 albums because you split
3
that
and
one
2
up.
halves. Yeah.
So did you do that completely on your own as well? Are you
Yeah.
self-published?
Yeah. I think that I'm just too stubborn to work with anybody else, just being honest with myself. I mean, I did when I first started like making music, I had one friend and he and I like we played bass and guitar together and we did make we made some pretty good music together. We got along. But we were friends before we were making the music together.
Right.
And I think that if I went out of my way to try and find someone who is like someone who can play an instrument and wants to write music with somebody, who wants to collaborate with somebody, I couldn't do it. I'm like, no, I want to write the bass line. I want to write the lyrics. I want to write the drum track, everything. And yeah, I'm not compatible with, I can't compromise my ideas in my music, It's pretty stubborn or self-righteous of me, but it's my art, so I can do what I want.
Yeah, and the reason I asked that question as well is because basically the whole project, the whole business, if you want to say, like everything that goes into the whole, from having the ideas, creating it, and then also bringing it out to the people and bringing it out in a certain way, like how you want it to be seen and all that stuff. That's basically all you. It's all a one-man project. So the question I always have, and I know that it's sometimes hard to put in words as well, but I guess what does it mean to you? Because you said you just want to create music for the rest of your life. So what, if you can put it into words, is it that whole process gives you?
I love that question. I mean, first of all, it is fun as hell. I mean, I just love playing music. I play covers of songs, I sing my own songs. I just sit there and play the same string on the guitar and like fiddle around with which fret I'm pressing and see what sounds good. All of it, it feels like exploring.
Right.
Exploring, like, I guess the closest metaphor I can come up with is exploring untouched nature. Like you see just like a forest and just going into that forest and seeing what you find. And, sometimes you find just some rocks. Sometimes you see an animal that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
And then other times it's like, I mean, there's, I, I'm reminded of my grandpa's house. He has like an acre of land with some forest around it.
Right.
And one time I went into that forest and I found there was like the frame of a car, like a really old car, just buried under the ground. And I only noticed it because I was going to kick the dirt and it was really hard. And I was
Right.
like, what the heck? And I started like digging it out and it was like a frame. And it's just so interesting. But that's probably the first reason that I like playing music and I like making music. But the second one is it gives me an outlet to say things that I don't know how to say in any language.
Right.
I don't think could be said in any language because music, like, we are exposed to music from so young before we can even talk. And so we have like memories and ideas in like notes that you can't think about, you can't express. It's ineffable. Ineffable is the word that I'm looking for. So it's kind of an interesting coincidence that you were saying if you have the words to describe why you like playing music, and I'm telling you it's because I can't describe it in words. So it it provides me with an outlet to say the things that I don't think I could say using language.
Sometimes I have questions in my mind where I don't know if I actually sound them out loud, they make sense. But
Here
Go
comes one of
for it.
those.
Go
So
for it.
do you feel like well, I guess it has two parts. First part, do you feel like if you want to express something in a way where you're not using words but you use sounds, do you think that the message will 100% reach the listener? And maybe secondly, is that important?
I think I'm just going to skip to the second one and just say it's not important because, I mean, I have made songs where I prioritized that, where I thought, okay, I want someone else to listen. Like many times it's a specific person. I want this person, when they listen to it, I want them to think, like, I want them to feel grateful, or I want them to feel excited, or, give them a chance to kind of reflect. But 9 times out of 10, I make music and maybe somebody gets it,
Right.
but I don't care if they get it. Like, if I got up, I'm sure if a famous musician got up on stage and they were like, hello, everybody, I don't care what you think about my music, that might not go over so well. But, like, the thing that I enjoy is I'm getting it out of me.
Yeah.
It just needs to be out. And then, if I ever feel this feeling that caused me to make a song, then I can just go back to that song. And, I think that music has been like me writing music has been the biggest test of my discipline because it is frustrating, especially the part where you have the idea, but you gotta like put it all together and then package it up and then send it out. That is difficult, but um oh, where was I going with that thought? It just no, it was oh man.
Writing music,
Yeah. Yeah.
discipline,
Yeah, yeah.
frustrating.
It's discipline. It's good discipline. Uh, because when it's frustrating, I can still power through that, and it's worth it in the end. Even though I make like no money, I think that over the course of my whole music career, I have made like $200, and like other than my like immediate family and friends, the kinds of people where you would expect them to be interested in your stuff,
Yeah.
like they say nice things about my music and I really greatly appreciate that. Like at least some people are listening to it. Um, but I haven't gotten any like widespread attention. There's no media frenzy or anything, but it's still satisfying and I still enjoy it. And I think that that's helped me grow as a person so much. Just being able to have a feeling and be able to get it out. And even if only a few people listen to it, or even just me listen to it, because, oh my gosh, that sound, I thought it was a giant bug. I get so jumpy.
Kind of sounds like a giant bug if you think about it.
If you ever hear like a loud shriek, like a woman getting murdered, that's because like one of those Christmas beetles flew near me. 100%. But yeah, the music has helped me mature. So to answer your first question, you had two questions. Second one was, does it matter if people listen? I'd say no. First one is, uh, first one was, how do I get people to listen? Was that it?
Um, Not really, but that's an interesting question.
Um,
I'll just take that.
well, I used my Instagram page as like an artist page for a long time, but uh since I've been traveling, I just started like using it as just a friends page. And I
Yeah.
even privated it and I took off most of the music promotion stuff. There's still a lot of music promotion,
Right.
but yeah. Yeah, it was just making posts online and you know, I didn't do much promotion other than I made some business cards.
Did you?
I did. Pretty proud of them. I show most people my business cards, but it's just a QR code and you scan it and it takes it to like a page where you can go to my
Oh,
YouTube,
and then you have all
Instagram, or
the.
Spotify.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Um, but like I said, in the end, it's not about like how people receive it. Like that's what it was. You were asking me, how do people receive it? And you know,
Yeah.
my dad, he loves, yeah, my dad is my biggest fan.
Hmm.
He listens to my music and every once in a while he'll just message me with like what he thinks one of my songs is about. And most of the time he's way off. Oh, I mean, but that's fine. I mean, it's enjoyable either way, and I get what I need out of it. Actually, my um my therapist, like before I had mentioned to him about me writing music, my therapist was recommending me to go write music because he knew I like to play guitar, and he was like, if you have feelings you want to express, you should make music. Um, he was actually British. But I wasn't gonna do the British accent.
I was about to say we have to do the accent though.
No. I actually, when I came to Australia, I whenever I tried to do an Australian accent, it came out as British. But
Right.
now if I try to do a British accent, it comes out as Australian.
That's all of it.
I mean, both of them are bad either way. So
I agree. I totally agree.
oh, you've heard my accent. You think it's bad?
No, I mean their accents are just bad.
Oh, we're throwing punches now.
No, because I always say that if the English people are on the podcast, but I mean, I told you, like, and like, my English is closer to the American than it would be to the British
Yeah.
English, so
Yeah.
I think my preference isn't hidden. I just always tell them, like, because that's the thing with me, which is kind of sad sometimes as well, because I can't watch British TV shows. Like, everyone says Peaky Blinders is such a brilliant show. I started watching it 3 times, and I always have to turn it off because I can't handle. I just can't handle the way they talk. It's just one of these things.
You know, my therapist was British, and that is so rare in America. Like, especially in Tennessee, like,
Right.
like people from overseas don't really go to Tennessee. So, like when I heard my therapist talking and he had a British accent, I like called my friends and family. There's a British guy. He's here.
Right.
It was just so shocking. And yeah, that's a big thing. And I'm sure you probably understand because you said you went to America, and it's like, you know, you hear someone with an English accent that's not from North America or South America. I mean, even South America can be surprising. But like, if you hear an English accent that's not like, you're obviously from North America, everybody's shocked. It just blows them away. So yeah, I'm still stuck here wondering, how did my therapist end up in Tennessee from the UK? But
Maybe he likes Longhorns.
maybe Longhorns.
I know that's Texas.
He's got to like Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
Yeah. The number one thing I miss from Tennessee is, it's not from Tennessee, but it's from America, is Chick-fil-A.
Right.
Chick-fil-A, oh my gosh. Like fast food here is good. Actually, KFC everywhere except Kentucky is great. If you go to Kentucky or Tennessee to get KFC, you might as well have injected some mysterious like sewer water into your veins directly. That stuff is so gross.
How can Kentucky Fried Chicken be bad in Kentucky though? That's a paradox in itself.
That's what I'm saying. But it's like, the US has the nastiest KFC, but I had KFC here.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I loved it. Almost on par with McDonald's. But Chick-fil-A, the only thing that they have at Chick-fil-A is a chicken sandwich, or as Australians would call it, chicken burger. They have other things on the menu, but nobody gets anything other than a chicken sandwich or maybe the chicken nuggets.
Right.
And it is so good. And every day I miss it. Like, they must be putting crack in it. I'm going back to America in 4 or 5 weeks, and I've called my parents and I told them my only request is when I touch down at the airport, have a chicken sandwich ready for me. Yes. I'm going to be so So excited. I'm gonna make sure I'm really hungry.
Just don't eat anything while you're off plane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just wait it out and then.
I probably won't eat that airplane food anyways. I'll just
Go
just sleep and then get really hungry. Get ready. I will be excited.
There's a, I mean, I like Chick-fil-A as well, but in general, there's a lot of fast food because, like, everywhere in the world, you have your McDonald's, you have your Burger King. But then in the United States, they have so many more that don't make
Yeah.
it outside. Like
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A, for example, like Arby's. Like,
Arby's isn't outside the US.
I don't think I've ever seen one outside of the US.
Wow.
Like a Wendy's, I've never seen one outside of the US.
They do have Wendy's in Japan.
Oh,
And it's weird because all the Wendy's in Japan, they call it Wendy's First Kitchen. But there's like so many of it. It's like, which one was the first one? I don't know why they went with that name.
First Kitchen.
But you know what? Maybe I just realized. Maybe it's called First Kitchen because like first could be translated as Ichiban, and Ichiban means like number one. It also means number one.
Right.
So they probably mean number one kitchen, not first as in the first one that ever opened.
That,
You know what? I just solved my own problem.
and I think you're right as well, because we have the same thing in German where you would, number one, if you would take the German word, it would technically translate to first. So if you
Really?
didn't really know how the language worked, probably we would do the same thing. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because first just means like, I mean, a tan, but it doesn't in English. But if you translate it back to German, yeah, it would kind of work like that as well, similar as in Japan. So,
But yeah, the other fast food chains that I miss so much. There's one called Cookout. Which
yeah,
you've had Cookout?
yeah.
Yeah. There's Taco Bell. Oh my gosh, Taco Bell. Taco Bell has to be the best fast food in the world because McDonald's is really good, but you can't eat it every day. And
Yes.
Chick-fil-A, I say a chicken sandwich is better than anything at Taco Bell, but you can't have just a chicken sandwich every day. Taco Bell, when living in America, I have gone a full like week or two only eating Taco Bell.
Because they have like different stuff.
They
like,
have so many different things, and I mean, the joke is that it's all just, everything is just like a corn tortilla, beans, rice, cheese, ground beef, and chicken, and sour cream, and you just mix them up in different orders.
right.
But that's good enough for me. That's totally fine. Oh, I tried to get a cheesy gordita crunch at the one Taco Bell in Sydney,
Mm.
and it did not taste anything like a cheesy gordita crunch. It was just, everything was wrong. They need to put me back there. I'll make them a cheesy gordita crunch.
I have to say though, the one good Mexican fast food chain that they have here, the Guzman y Gomez thing,
Yeah.
they actually do really good burritos. Like,
Yeah, I was surprised. I was thinking, we're so far from Mexico. I won't be able to have real Mexican food. Guzman it's up there. I'm surprised at the quality. If I
Yeah.
miss Mexican food, it does the trick. It's enough, but still not as good as the Mexican food in the States.
no, no, it's especially like in Germany, like we're even farther away than we are here, and we do have. No, we didn't for a long time. Didn't have any Mexicans, like not any decent Mexicans. You have a few nowadays, but there's also when my parents took us traveling to the States, and then also I was in Virginia, but particularly when I was in Texas with my dad,
Oh yeah.
I mean, they do have a lot of Tex-Mex, which is its own thing again, but
Yeah.
especially there, and we've been to Arizona a bunch as well, California, and the
Okay.
Mexican food you get in the States, it's just so good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the real thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but before I get even hungrier than I already am
Yeah.
after this,
I'm really hungry. Yeah.
I want to ask one closing question. And just because I say closing question doesn't mean it's going to be a quick answer. But basically, all the build-up that we did, that we explored the different things that you do in your life, and we didn't really talk about chefing per se, but now we talked about food, so it's kind of it's
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of in there. Because you teased you were gonna go back to the States. You said there is a plan. It involves college. So I kind of just wanna know, with all these things that you enjoy doing, with all the things that you learned about yourself traveling as well, in that plan, what what part is music playing? What part is working in the kitchen playing? Kind of, well, what is the plan? How are you gonna
Yeah.
kind of create your life that you want to have?
So, my plan right now, and I came up with this plan literally 2 weeks ago. So my parents say I live by the seat of my pants. I don't, I'm not sure if that's a proper sentence in English, but I understand what they
What-
mean.
Right.
But my plan right now is I'm going to, after my visa expires here, I'll go back to America, and in Tennessee, we get 2 free years of college if you're
Oh.
over 23.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to take those 2 free years and then go for another 2 years to get a bachelor's degree. In that meantime, I'm going to be working a part-time job as a chef.
Right.
And then the rest of my free time, I'm sure I will find myself playing music. So I'll be back to playing music and cooking while still going to school. And then after graduating and getting a bachelor's degree, I'm going to go teach English in Japan.
Nice.
And, I avoided that option for a long time because I didn't want to get a degree. Like, I didn't want the student debt. And, I've heard a lot of people doing the English teaching, and I wanted to try and go to Japan some other way. Like, I worked at a desk job at a Japanese company for a while and asked them a million times if I could work for them, but in Japan.
Right.
And I mean, I've tried to go to Japan. And stay there as long as possible. But I think that after 4 years of being in America and doing all the cooking and writing music I want, I'll have done it enough to where I will be ready to go to Japan, and I'll teach English there and, play it by ear from there. I think that, I'll either love it or I'll hate it, and I can decide while I'm there if I want to stay or if I want to go back home. But having a degree and then having some sort of connection to Japan, I think that will guide me in the right path for the really long term. That's my 5-year plan right there. And some people would call that long term, some people would call that short term. But yeah,
Guess
that's
it
where I'm
depends
at.
on your age as well. I think at your age, I would have said it's long term for sure. But even now, 5 years is quite a because I'm sitting here and I can't even tell you what I'm doing next year. So I'll probably be back in Australia because with this job, I got myself a second year visa, so
Oh yeah,
I might as well use that. But other than that, yeah, it's just whatever happens, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's kind of. I think it's good. It's gonna suit you. I can because training and well, like what I did was called being a trainer, but like teaching and just talk like being with people is something I really enjoy. Like it's that's what I used to do in Portugal. It was my job to train people coming into the company and basically show them how to use the software, show them how to like have like decent people skills and stuff like that. And I can totally see that in you just being with people, communicating and being in the culture that you love so much as well, and helping all the, I guess it's going to be children slash teenagers that you would be teaching.
I have no idea. I heard after the interview they ask you like what is your ideal teaching job, but most of the time they just throw away whatever you wrote and tell you, "Oh yeah, you're going to this city in the middle of nowhere. Good
Right.
luck." But I mean, I'll just see what happens.
I mean, I can definitely see they probably need more people in the rural areas just because that's
Yeah, and actually,
not where a lot of the people are.
I would love to work in a rural area, um, just because that'll give my experience a bit more character, like something unique about it.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we've talked an hour and 20 minutes.
Really?
Well, not really, because there was a little break, which no one's gonna know about. It's gonna be edited out. But at the end, yeah, I think an hour 15 or something. It flew by. It's like,
Yeah.
it's honestly, I had the same experience with Mio just a week ago, but today I mean it as well. Like we could talk like for even an hour or two more. And
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
enjoyed the conversation, and it's just, yeah, it was so many interesting things in it as well. Um, I, yeah, I
I
just,
mean, I really appreciate you like giving me a space to talk about myself because I know everybody likes to talk about themselves, and I mean, I'm just as guilty, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun to just talk and talk and talk. Yeah.
nice. Yeah, that's always the cool thing if people, I mean, and most people do actually enjoy it, and that's the cool thing. But I appreciate you as well, taking your time and sharing all these things with me, and like I said, the millions of listeners, the 2 or 3 listeners.
Greatest respects.
And what I haven't done in a long time, which I'll probably do in this one again, is in the description I can definitely link to your music and
Oh,
stuff.
that would be awesome.
And
Yeah.
any online presence that you have. Otherwise, we'll just figure it out later, and I'll put all that down there, and then people can check that out.
Heck yeah.
Cool. So yeah, thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.